All right, y'all. We back with Bryan Kohberger hearing today. Okay. If those who've been people, a lot of y'all been following this case with me. So now we to the part where it's a hearing. Okay. Now Bryan Kohberger is sitting there at the table with the defense team. And Bryan Kohberger was uh their alleged suspect executing four University of Idaho students. That's what the state saying he's the one did it. Okay, but we don't know yet. Okay, still early in the hearing. Okay, in the case trial. Now Bryan Kohberger defense team has something up their sleeve for him, y'all. Listen, this is Bryan Kohberger hearing that y'all watching right now. Okay, if you want to look at it, I don't know who have this hearing. I don't know if it's Law and Grant. I'm not sure. But this is his hearing. We going to the. I've been wondering what's going on because it's Thanksgiving, y'all. Again, Thanksgiving this month when them kids was executed. This is the month of November. So usually when a situation comes up on the month that something happened to a person, usually they will update us on something like this. So this is Bryan Kohberger hearing, y'all. Whether Kohberger can be executed if he is convicted. That's where we hear in this hearing for today. Back in 2022, and you can see the defense team talking right there on my left, okay? Um, Back in 2022, the defense team came across Kohberger trial, and they were saying that it shouldn't be permitted. It shouldn't permit the death penalty as punishment. That's what the defense team saying that back then they still was considering to X out the death penalty for Bryan Kohberger, and here we are in 2024, and the defense team still want the judge to take out the death penalty for Bryan Kohberger. Okay, now because of the state. Okay, the defense team is saying that the state has no real meaning on Kohberger. That's why they want them to take the death penalty out. Okay, the executing of an inmate. What the defense team tries to do right here, y'all, at Bryan Kohberger, and that's Bryan Kohberger at the bottom, is trying to change the law. Want the judge to change the law instead of the law changing the law. That's not what the law said, is what the defense team is saying, okay? Now, that's Ann Taylor, the young lady that's speaking right there, Bryan Kohberger attorney. Now, y'all, this is for criticism and commenting, so if you want to make a comment in it, if you know about this case with me, talk about it, like that. If you don't know what you talk about, just kind of like, just don't say nothing, okay? Now, Ann Taylor announced in court today that she trying to say our Constitution. If she want to say our Constitution, our Constitution does not rely on what she's saying, okay? Now, Ann Taylor is Bryan Kohberger public defendant, y'all. And she said it's not a realistic option to allow the Constitution to allow defense to move forward and make Bryan sit in death row for years and years if the way Idaho is doing is right now. And it's not really working. In other words, she don't want Bryan to sit in jail. Bryan don't want to, must be telling him he don't want to sit in jail because this and that, that, and that. And so they trying to feel sorry for their client. That's what they supposed to. In other words, the prosecution is saying that Idaho current method of execution, lethal injection, is available. And while this method could change down the line, right down the line, but not now for Kohberger, okay? Nothing can change for Kohberger, okay? Right. The state don't have the time and the effort to debate with the defense team right here. Because they don't know the future of the death penalty. Now, I think that the defense is wasting the state in the people time talking about the death penalty. That's a law that can't. They just change that law. Okay. So she's saying that the state saying that they don't have no debate. They're not going to debate with the defense team right now. Okay. So the judge did deny the defense request to hear from an expert. She wants to bring an expert in testifying regarding the Constitution, y'all, of the death penalty. That's what this defense trying to get them to change the law for this man who allegedly executed 4 university students. She want the defense team trying to get them to change the law. So the judge denied her request to bring in that person to hear their testimony, okay, regarding the Constitution of the death penalty. And also, y'all, the judge heard arguments about whether Bryan may pose a danger, okay, to others while he in jail. They had to come up from somewhere that the other inmates, somebody got to be complaining about it. But listen, the prosecutor said that due to Kohberger multiple crimes, he just turned 30. He just turned 30. And this month making the crime more severe since he getting older. He getting older, he ain't getting no younger, he getting older. And the death penalty warrant, he's a threat to society. Yes, he a threat to those guys in jail as well. Okay, and that is society, those inmates. The defense asked the judge to strike. That's the only thing that today in this trial right here, y'all, is that, I'm going to let you hear a little bit.
Happen. I think that. So you're saying the anxiety of not knowing is the constitutional violation? I say that, and I believe that the Troop versus Duels was cited in the brief, and the comparison there is what I'm saying the Constitution doesn't allow. It is anxiety. It is fear. It is the not knowing.
She's saying that the death penalty is anxiety, while Bryan is sitting there in jail, prison, knowing he on death row. Okay, so the defense suggested allowing for a special place. Okay, in other words, y'all, the defense asked the judge to strike the state death penalty request based on the claim of aggravating factors, okay? And the defense also suggested and allow for a special place if Bryan is found guilty. That will require the jury to determine if he is then eligible for capital punishment. They are doing everything to save Bryan from the death penalty. So to me, it seems like the defense team knows something that we don't know. They jumping on the death penalty so quickly.
To be fair, the Idaho Supreme Court just ruled that anxiety and fear in the Creech case was not sufficient to preclude his execution just this week. I read that opinion, and I read that, I guess, more particular to the botched execution attempt versus sitting there for decades and not knowing how and if it would happen. No, but it was anxiety that was the underpinning. I don't mean to disrespect what Mr. Creech felt or went through, but you're talking about realistically from February 29th, if this was leap year, until now, and what you're talking about for Mr. Kohberger and what would happen if he were convicted and if he were sentenced to death would be decades. The court just acknowledged that it's decades to sit. And no disrespect to the anxiety Mr. Creech felt, I think that must have been horrible for him. But to sit for decades and wonder is a lot longer. And so I understand what the Supreme Court said. I did read that too. But I think it's different when you're just starting out here in this circumstance. Thank you.
Now, y'all, what do y'all? Their defense team want them to feel sorry for Bryan, okay? Cause they know Bryan, they gonna get Bryan, allegedly gonna get Bryan the death penalty. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Share this live. Tell me, hey, don't forget to join the channel. I love y'all. I'm out of here.